Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
You know, like Lisa, I could have called this Bloom. It's very fitting for Beltane and fitting for my talk too, but I thought that the title, How to Have a Spiritual Awakening, was more catchy. And it's fitting too, because it's the name of our center. And, you know, what do we need is a how-to guide in 30 minutes or less. Yeah? We'll see. Maybe a little over 30. But before I begin, I have to admit that I've always had an issue between the thoughts in my mind and what actually comes out of my mouth. They don't communicate so well. So it may be because they were educated in different cultures. You see, I was born in the deep South in Mississippi. My speech, when it was formed, has a cadence and a drawl that is slower, outside of timeliness. Words, those rascally beasts, they seem to float away like butterflies on a breeze. They're so beautiful, but they can't be caught. I have to pin them down on paper with my knife to make them stand still. So with that as my story, my terrified child self, but can't help but wonder, why would I want to stand here in front of you when no one has ever understood me? You ever felt no one's ever understood you? So that personality asks, why would I want this? Well, I love stories. It's one of the reasons that very selfish reasons I became a teacher at CSA in the children's program. But stories are like maps. They offer us new roads and possibilities outside of our own limited self-awareness. What's more, our mind loves stories. It remembers them, and with each telling, they become deeper and richer and more complex. And one of my favorite all-time stories is the story of Chundaka from Tibet. Long ago, there lived a boy named Chundaka, or Chunda as he was fondly called. He was a happy child. He had many friends, and his family loved him. But he had a big problem. No matter how hard he tried, he could never learn to read or write. Raj, his brother, was very scholarly and learned easily. And as he went through school, Raj decided he wanted to continue his learning by going into the monastery and becoming a monk. And Chunda wanted to go with Raj, and he thought, well, I can't become a monk, but maybe I can just help by working for them. But secretly, he had a desire to learn more too, to learn about Buddhism. And Raj asked him, why don't you just ask to become a monk too? But Chunda thought, without any confidence, and sadly, how could I become a monk? I cannot read. I cannot memorize lines. A person who is a monk has to learn many things, many scriptures, and you have to go out and teach the people. But Raj said, that part's not important. What's important is that you have compassion and that you ease the suffering of others. So Chunda mustered up his courage. He put on his best clothes and he went before the master at the monastery, and he applied and he was accepted to become a monk. And so the first week, he was given just 6 lines to memorize. And no matter how hard he tried, he could not read or memorize the lines. And in great frustration, after a week of trying, he went before the master, who really was the Buddha. And he said to him, I cannot do this. And they sat together for a time in silence, and finally the Buddha said, Chunda, are you a hard worker? Do you think that you could keep this temple spotlessly clean? And Chunda said, yes, I'm a very hard worker. I could do that. So the Buddha gave him the task of cleaning the temple and sweeping it every day. And not only that, when he was to clean it, he was also to recite these 6 words: remove all dirt, remove all dust. And Chunda willingly agreed, yes, I'm going to do this. And he went out, and as soon as he tried it, he could not remember the words. Luckily, Raj had overheard, and so his brother helped him to remember the words: remove all dirt, remove all dust. And he would take his broom, and in one sweep, remove all dirt, remove all dust. It took him a long time to memorize the lines. After about a month, he finally could do it by himself. And he would go around the temple in a single-minded way, remembering the lines. Some of the other monks who saw him, who witnessed him, they thought of themselves. They had more pride, a little bit of pride in themselves that, they could remember the scriptures. They could memorize the verses. And look at Chunda. So they had a little bit of pride, maybe a lot of pride in their own learning. But time went by, and they watched him. And as they watched him, they couldn't help but admire his perseverance and his single-mindedness. And for Chunda, as time went by and years went by, he started to wonder at the words he was given and that he was repeating every day. He started to really think hard about them, like maybe this is not about outer dirt and dust at all. And then some of the fellow monks would see him just standing and staring. As he was sweeping, he would stop and look out. And soon Chunda decided, I'm going to go and talk to the Buddha about what I've been thinking, because all these thoughts were arising in him. And so he went before. He said, "Oh, Venerable One, I think I finally understand the real meaning of the words you gave me." "Oh, yes? What do you think? What do you understand?" "I believe that inner dirt and dust are grasping. If we don't like something in our lives, we grasp for it to change. But if we do like something in our lives, we grasp for it to stay the same. We must clean all of this out to look at life clearly. We must sweep away the inner dirt and dust and keep our inner temples clean." And the Buddha smiled warmly at Chunda's wise words. And so as years passed, Chunda swept and meditated and thought deeply. And he found actually that he did not have to memorize lines, but that understanding and learning rose up within him. And he became well known as one of the wisest of teachers, and he was affectionately called the Broom Master. And people traveled from far and wide to hear his simple yet wise teachings. I have found this mantra, remove all dirt, remove all dust, does far more than clean grasping. It cleans all kinds of perspectives. It's also great for falling asleep. And I have told this story many times, and at different times I have focused on different aspects of it. Today it speaks to me because I feel like Chunda, before enlightenment, I feel like Chunda a lot of the time, simple, rather inadequate, yet pulled like Chunda to learn more, from here. Also, this story opens the possibility that what I am, exactly as I am, doing what I do as I do it, like standing here in front of you and speaking despite my child's perception of my inability to do it. Just as Chunda, determined to become a monk despite not being able to memorize verses, is really important. The first step even, radical acceptance. And also, if I let go of the story I have about my life, that is, clean my perceptions, that story is not who I am. And this personality that formed as a result of this story, what I call Karen is not really who I am. What if what I want has nothing to do with it? Moko koma, moko hono hana. It sounds very Hawaiian, doesn't it? I'm not sure if it is. The emotions we feel and the desires and thoughts we have are as ours as the sounds we hear. Today you were given order service when you came in. On the front, you will find the CSA mission statement. It says, "The Center for Spiritual Awakening cultivates the sense of self in the individual that lies beyond the personality. We are encouraged to develop a living relationship with this inner source of intelligence, wisdom, and love by using mind correctly. An expanded and fulfilling life is the result, including better health, more wealth, great relationships, and joyous self-expression." Whoa, that's a lot for my mind that seems really simple. So let's dissect it, right? So high school English, remember that? Conjugation, sentence conjugation. The subject is the Center for Spiritual Awakening. The verb cultivates, and here it is, the object of the whole point of this whole thing. The sense of self in the individual that lies beyond the personality. Again, what if what is motivating me is not me? The self beyond the personality. Marianne Williamson writes, "We are born to manifest the glory of God that is within us." In the Bible it is written, "I delight to do your will, O Lord my God, your law is within my heart." That's from Psalm 40, verse 8. Okay, I'm here to manifest God. It is within me, in my heart. The sense of self in the individual that lies beyond the personality. So removing all the clauses and the articles from that sentence, we find just one word, sense. What is this sense? It's here in the heart, yeah? What does it feel like? Have you felt this? You're supposed to shake your head, yeah. Of course, right? Yeah, of course. That's what brought you into being, and it moves in you and motivates you. It brought you here today. We have heard it called the Force in Star Wars. Remember? The Force, Obi-Wan says, the Force is what gives a Jedi his power. It's an energy field that is created by all living things. It surrounds us and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together. Well, Steven Spielberg, as we know, got this from Taoism. It was Lao Tzu who wrote it first. Those who flow as life flows need no other force. Flow as life flows. No other force. Life force is a flow. We have been likened to fish who are looking for the ocean in which we are immersed. Ramana Maharshi writes, God illumines the mind and shines within it. One cannot know God by means of the mind. One can but turn the mind inwards and merge it with God. So the sense is not here. It's here, and here, and here, right? And here. It is written in Genesis. Oh, yeah, we feel it. Well, we feel this as a state of flow, right? When Mike was doing that this morning. And in Genesis, and the earth was waste and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the waters. Genesis 1, chapter 2. Without the Spirit of God moving, there is nothing. only waste and void and darkness. Flow is the sense of the movement of God, life force. There's a lot of spiritual teachers who talk about this state, but I also know that each and every one of us has experienced it. We've known it since childhood. Perhaps you felt it more in childhood. It is a state of action coupled with non-doing, where you experience timelessness, a heightened perception followed by fulfillment, peace, and tranquility. Also something more, a sense of stepping out of yourself, your personality, your story. Stepping out of the mundane daily life and problems. A clear, empty mind, no dirt, no dust. A state of being awake. In your order of service, also on the back, you'll see some lines, empty lines, blank lines, in the chair in front of you or behind you, if you're in the first row. There's a pencil. As I've been talking about this, maybe you have thought of a time when you experienced flow. Please take a moment now to write that down on the lines. You probably have many times. Any one time will do. This is your passkey to spiritual awakening. It is unique to you. But there's more. It's not enough to know your divine purpose. We're called to act on it. Take a look at the CSA mission again. We are encouraged to develop a living relationship with this source. This for me is overly gentle. The verb is are encouraged. That's it. But it's your story to write. You get to choose. Other teachers are more blunt and aggressive. The full quote that I didn't say before from Marianne Williamson is, "You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure about you. We were born to manifest the glory of God that is within us." Okay, so now you hold in your hand your key to awakening, scribbled on the back of a piece of paper that you'll likely throw away. You did it with an ordinary pencil. And I just told you it's not enough. It's not enough to get to that third sentence of the mission statement, an expanded and fulfilling life. There needs to be movement. Unlock the door with your key and walk through it. To do this, it's necessary to move beyond the illusion of separateness. Before I go into that, though, it's important to know that life flow, life force, chi, is happening whether you participate in it consciously or not. The real question here is, will you participate in it consciously? As it says in CSA Mission, use mind correctly. A friend of mine wrote me a text the other day. It said, "I feel like life is living me instead of me living my life." You know that feeling? It's a subtle difference. It's the difference between surfing a wave and being tumbled beneath it. Either way, you're riding the wave. We are immersed in the life force. We are the life force. There is no separation from life force. There is no hierarchy. No one person has more access to it. There is no one person. We are we. And language really slows us down here in getting to enlightenment, because Language is inherently objectifying. Its purpose is to name things, to separate me and you, podium, the tree, my thoughts, my feelings, my life. Yeah? God is and moves in everything all the time. To sense life force, the self behind the personality from which all is created, it's only an adjustment of perception. Remove all dirt, remove all dust. A matter of seeing the ocean in which we swim, knowing we are also the ocean. Einstein called it an optical delusion of consciousness. It's just a shift in perception, like seeing both the old woman and the young woman in this image. You don't lose the image, right? You don't lose one when you finally see the other. You can switch back and forth at will. We are thinking, willing, knowing, conscious centers of life. We are surrounded by, immersed in, and there is flowing through us a creative something. Call it what you will. That's Ernest Holmes, not me. There is only one self, not two, not me and you, not God out there. There is no other. We are we. Let's take a moment now to recognize this by greeting each other. One can do this in a number of ways. A handshake, a smile, a bow. I'm going to come down and join you. If you want, greet each other.
I see you, Michael.
This is just like us recognizing each other.
I see you.
That feels so good, yeah? That feels amazing. We are colonial and communal, individualized expressions of the one self. The word we use for this is community. Community is one living organism. We harmonize with each other. We are in reciprocal kinship. In community, each one of us plays a role in the one body, in collective being and doing. Each of us doing a specific function, playing our part, differentiated like the cells in our bodies. Each of our lives and personalities complement each other. There are countless examples and proof of oneness and differentiation in nature, in the empirical and theoretical sciences, and also in spiritual teachings, both ancient and new, metaphysical and traditional. I could spend another hour in the dazzling proof of our collective body, our collective organism, about collective thinking and feeling and willing, and the power of group mind and effort. Instead, allow your imagination to see a new perspective, to form a different point of view. Start with the cells in your body, maybe that first one, dividing, multiplying, differentiating, becoming the heart cells, the brain cells, the nerve cells. Maybe look in on your blood system. See those blood cells moving, at first chaotic, but then you see they're in a stream, all going together. And maybe you pan out now and look at a city, a busy city, where there's traffic, or maybe people walking, and you see them chaotic, but yet then also moving in this poetic dance, a stream. And then pulling your vision out further and looking down upon this one earth, one body, gentle and peaceful, and knowing also at the same time that all of this activity and orchestration is happening inside of that body. The next slide, this is Volvox. Like the earth, yes? It's like a little mini earth, very tiny, microscopic. These are individual algae in a colony. And I thought I'd be talking a lot today about algae and the evolution of multicellularity and cellular differentiation, but instead, I'll tell you a story. And this one's from Africa. Anansi was a spider, a lazy, greedy spider, a trickster who took everything he wanted for free. When Anansi's first son was born, and Anansi and his wife Asa were ready to name the child, the baby spoke up and said, "I have brought my own name with me. My name is Sea Trouble." And when their second son was born, he too announced that he had named himself, and his name was Road Builder. And the next 4 sons in turn were born self-named, and they gave themselves names River Drinker, Game Skinner, Stone Thrower, and Cushion. Once, Anansi had to go on a long journey, and on his trip he found this bright, shiny ball. And he was bringing it home when he fell into a lake and was swallowed by a fish. And he decided right then that whoever saved him would get the shiny ball. And as time passed and he didn't return, his family started to wonder about him. So Sea Trouble went to work, and he then could see that his father was in the belly of a fish, and he went and told his family, and they also got to work. Road Builder built a road straight to the lake, and they went all on it. Then River Drinker came and drank up all of the water. So that resting on the bottom, there was the giant fish. And Game Skinner came with his knife, and he cut the fish down the gullet, and out popped Anansi, still holding the bright shiny ball, when a bird came and picked up Anansi and took it far up into the sky. This was Stone Thrower's job. He took his stone and threw it, hitting the bird, and dropped Anansi from the sky. Down he fell. But who was there? Cushion, yeah. So he landed softly. And then Anansi thought, well, who can I give this ball to? He couldn't figure it out. Who had done the most work? So he gave it to Nyami. Nyami put it up in the sky until someone could figure out who deserved the bright, shiny ball. It's still there today. You can see it tonight. CSA and science of mind are not a religion. There is no dogma to adhere to, no rules to follow. We have absolute freedom to allow spirit to flow through us and express itself in whatever form or way it has. Living and interacting, working, I mean, it's like playing, really. And a spiritual community allows for the greatest expression of our unique and divine gifts. This is your playground. When you claim your divine role in community, an expanded and fulfilling life is a result, including better health, more wealth, great relationships, and joyous self-expression. The Latin root of the word community is a quality of sameness of feeling, a sense of oneness. It also implies a common ownership, a common life, a shared life. Christians refer to this sense of communal oneness as the body of Christ. Like Volvox, our communal being is alive. It is self-creating, self-organizing. This is an organic process. We can choose to create it intentionally by using mind correctly, or we can let it form. Surf the wave or be tumbled beneath it. Community is a co-creation. What part of the creation story are you? I invite you to consciously take part in your own spiritual awakening now. The WikiHow instructions are: 1, you are more than your story. Become Chunda. Remove all dirt. Remove all dust. 2, radical acceptance, not just of me, but all that is. I am, this is perfect. Just like Anansi's son, self-name your life's purpose. Yeah? Feel the flow. It's not about stepping into it because it already is. Feel it, the oneness of all that is. And go for a ride. Enjoy it. Feel it carrying you, sustaining you. Surf it. Your most epic wave. It feels good like that, yeah? Take that order of service. Write your name and phone number legibly underneath the words that you wrote before. Rip it out. Drop it in the collection basket today, or stuff it in the Lakshmi envelope behind your seat there. This small act could profoundly change the course of your life. And I invite you to join us again here next Sunday, May 7th, and let your voice join together in community to shape the future of CSA. A flower doesn't stay underground, waiting in potentiality. At some point, it must stretch up to the sky and bloom. And as Reverend Treya says, what do you say? Oh yeah. What are you waiting for? Why not now?
Why not now?
So instead of closing with a treatment, I want us to feel it. And the best way to feel it is by joining our voices as one. You will find in your order of service also this insert with some words. And I'm going to come down. Karen, I'm going to double the Karenhood here. Karen Lehman and I will begin. And if you know this song, join in right away. And as soon as you feel comfortable with the melody, feel free to join in. And we'll close with that. So here we go. Just gonna put this here. Ready? All right. Okay. It goes like this. I'm not a lone wolf, and I never was. Anything I achieve it because I am standing on the shoulders of an infinite many, seen and unseen. I'm not a lone wolf, and I never was. Anything I achieve it because I am riding on a tidal wave of universal longing. One more time. I'm not a lone wolf, and I never was. Anything I achieve it because I'm standing on the shoulders of an infinite many, seen and unseen. I'm not a lone wolf,
and I never was. Anything I achieve it because I am riding on a tidal wave of universal longing.